We're in Managua, Nicaragua. At the beginning of week 2, nationwide protests against the dictatorship of Daniel Ortega.
This was the scene in Managua, Nicaragua last week. A protest, a student massacre, a country in the streets. Nicaragua has erupted against the dictatorship of Sandinista President Daniel Ortega. It's a moment of national awakening, and it's being led by the students. What started as a protest against an increase in Social Security taxes and a reduction in pensions turned into a general uprising against Ortega's violent and repressive regime after his police unloaded on students in the street. Ortega has long had a zero-tolerance policy towards protesters, but this crackdown was extreme, even by Sandinista standards.
They don't want the students, they don't want the people to be on the streets. They want to repress any kind of manifestation.
Parts of Managua were turned into urban battle zones. Police fought alongside paramilitaries known as the Sandinista Youth to drive back the students. Entire neighborhoods became theaters of war. Students dug up the brick streets to barricade themselves inside their campuses. They threw rocks and Molotov cocktails, while police and Sandinista youth responded with bullets. When the smoke cleared, there were at least 40 dead, and it could be upward of 60. Most of the casualties are students, the youngest 15.
Y el sábado en la noche, él mandó a la policía orteguista a mandarnos a matar directamente, con balas de verdad. Hubieron muchos heridos, compañeros de nosotros que han muerto, y eso nos duele a cada uno de nosotros.
The horrific images of violence were shared widely on social media, shocking a nation that's still haunted by the ghosts of its recent past.
We don't want Daniel Ortega as our president anymore.
This is about young people rising up and wresting power from an older generation of aging revolutionaries led by Daniel Ortega. If you remember the name, that's because Daniel Ortega has been around for the past 4 decades. The socialists rose to power in 1979 after the Sandinista government toppled the U.S.-backed Somoza dictatorship. After battling U.S.-funded Contras for a decade, Ortega was voted out of office in 1990. He spent the next 16 years plotting his return. He was given a second chance when he was re-elected in 2006, but betrayed the trust of the Nicaraguans by destroying the constitutional democracy and setting himself up as president for life. Ortega now controls every branch of government, the streets and the media. But Nicaraguans are reclaiming those spaces and the narrative about their country. After Ortega pulled the plug on the independent media broadcast last week during the protests, Nicaraguans used their smartphones to live stream the revolution from the streets, turning Twitter and Facebook into the country's main news source. Nicaragua will try to settle its differences in a national dialogue facilitated by the Catholic Church. And Ortega has made some concessions by dropping his Social Security overhaul and releasing some of the students held in jail. But many are saying any dialogue that aims to keep Ortega in power is a non-starter. Nicaragua is over it. Tim Rogers, Managua, Nicaragua.